Okay, what we have here is some of the old 80s swag lights in a bathroom. I've seen tons of installation of can lights or recessed lights or whatever you want to call them on YouTube, but I haven't seen a single one where you're installing it in a area like this where it's in a bathroom. Now, the first thing that I don't know is what is behind this. I've taken a coat hanger and stuck it up through the bottom. I'll show you the little hole here where I stuck it up through the bottom. Right there's a little hole. I just stuck a coat hanger up in to try to figure out if there was any studs or whatever up there that I have to drill through, because I'm going to put 3 can lights in here. One goes here, one goes in this original location, and then yet a third one goes over on this side where that little hole is right there. Which means I've got to run light and wire from this source over to all 3 of them. So there's got to be some 2x4s or something up in this wall here. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find any. I tried with a stud finder and wasn't able to find any, so I went and bought a new stud finder, and I'm going to try it and see if it works, and then I will be back in a minute. Well, first of all, we've had no luck with the stud finder. I bought a new one and it can't find a stud in this house, so maybe I've got a really unique house. Doesn't have studs in it. The walls are magically held in place with a sky hanger, I guess. First thing you want to do is you want to turn the electricity off. I verified that we have turned the electricity off by having my wife in here and yelling at me on the cell phone when I get the thing flipped right. There's other ways to do it, but that works very well. Now what I'm going to do is take this junction box out, and then I'm going to try to reach up in the wall and see if there's any studs between there and the little hole I've got over here. I've taken down the old swag lights. I'll remove that hanger on both sides and we'll do some patching on that. But what we're going to do right now is we're going to take this old junction box out right here, because those wires are my source for the light. Okay, what I've done is I've removed the junction box, and how I did that was there are 2 screws that hold this part in right here, and I removed them with the screwdriver. That's where the light fixture was hanging. And then I had 2 other screws that were up in the inside of the junction box, and I unscrewed those. You can see those 2 holes right there as the 2 holes where those were. And now the junction box is free. Okay, so that will free me up to get in here and find out where the studs are. Now I look up in here and I see something that appears to be a cable, a wire, or something up in here. And let me give me my light here.
Yeah, I see
maybe
that.
I can figure out what that is. Some kind of a light or cable or something up in there.
It's a metal box.
Okay. Okay, what I've done is remove this bracket from up in the hole. And how I did it was, I took this piece of oak wood and I stuck it through the hole, and then I hammered it from the bottom with a hammer, and it bent this right here and pulled the nails out, and then I reached up in there with my hand and pulled it the rest away. So now we're ready to go hunting for 2x4s.
Okay.
Okay, what I've done is the wiring that is up here that we're going to use for the source, I've pushed it back up in the hole to get it out of the way, because I'm going to cut the hole. The lights come with a template, and the template is the exact size of the hole without the flange. Okay, so there's a flange on the edge of this flange right here, which is going to fit on the outside. What you have to do, if there's anything in this can here that will hit this 2x4 stud up in here, there's a flat 2x4 stud that goes this way. It's not vertical like that, it's flat like this. and it goes the entire length of this. So what we had to do, instead of centering over the 4-inch hole that was previously there, we had to go a little bit back toward the wall to allow adequate room for all of these little rivets and various other things that would contact this stud. So how we did that was we took the flange and we put it up here. We measured from the inside the stud with the tape measure, measured inside the hole like that, and we got our measurement of how far it was to the stud, and then we transposed that measurement to the outside, and then we put our template up here and we taped it in place. We drew a line around, and then we took the template off and then turned it, because you can't write over the tape, and then we drew in the areas where the tape previously was, and now we have a complete line drawn, and we're getting ready to cut the hole for the first one. Now what we're going to do is we're going to install this, and the power wire is going to come in through the top. We took a plug out. There's a wire, the Romex is going to come out of here and go over to this one, and then Romex is going to come out of here and go over to that one. We're going to have 3 lights up here. So what we're going to do with the first one is we're going to install it with the and test the lighting to see it's adequate lighting in a bathroom for ladies' makeup and all that kind of thing. We're not sure about these what do they call them, LEDs. We don't know if the LEDs are going to be bright enough, but fortunately the lights that we bought have an opening for any type of standard light bulb. So if the LEDs don't work, we can always go back and get a different kind of light. I don't have to change out the canister. So we got all this at Lowe's, just so you know. They have them at Home Depot, any electrical outlet place, whatever. Another little tidbit that I've seen in a video, these little quick connects came on here. I don't know anything about these other than I don't like them. So what I'm going to do is use just regular wire nuts like I've been doing for years. Maybe that's better, I don't know. But in my own personal, I go with what I know. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, what we're going to do right now is we're going to make a big mess by cutting the hole. What I'm doing that with is a best tool ever been invented, one of these oscillating cutters. You don't have to film it done. Is we have located where we're going to put the other 2 lights, and I just cut a temporary hole to fish the wire through, and there is no studs going this way in this box up here, so there was nothing I had to drill through. There was nothing that would stop. I just simply stuck the wire in here and it came out here. Same thing over there, stuck it in, got over there. As far as the placement of the lights, the wife has decided she wants this light right over this sink, that light right over that sink. So we measured from the center of this to here, and from the center of this to here, and then we made sure that we were balanced between the 2 walls. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to install this center light, and all 3 of these wires have got to come into this one junction box. And I'm going to wire them all together, install this light, and then I will put a nut on these, go turn the electricity on, test this light to make sure that it works and it's got adequate lighting and all that stuff before I cut the holes for the others. But in any event, what I'm going to do right now is run this wire, and this wire into this junction box, and then join them together with common wire nuts. And then this little keeper, when it gets, this little thing, when it gets up into the hole, you push this and it pushes down on the back side of the sheetrock, and that's what holds the light fixture in place. And these little things, there's 3 of them. There's one on this side, one on that side, one right here. They get kind of annoying when you're trying to push it up in there and they get in the way. But once they're up there and you got the light in place, you simply push that like that. The little foot comes down and goes on the back side of the sheetrock up here and holds it in place. So that's our next step. And so right now what we're going to do is we're going to run all 3 of these wire ends into here, wire nut them all together, and then stuff it up in there, and then we'll be back. Alright, now I want to talk to you about what I affectionately refer to as these damn clips, okay? We had a very frustrating moment trying to get this thing up in there and get these little clamps seated, because the instructions were, what wasn't in Spanish was in very bad, I mean, they just said, push on the flat side. Well, you'd push on the flat side, but it would never lock and seat, and so I never could figure out what they were talking about. Well, if you can get up here a little closer, you can see this has a foam pad over the little clip. Well, what that foam pad was hiding is a little tab that you take your screwdriver, and once you get it up in there, you put your screwdriver in this little tab, and then you hit it with a hammer. That's what that little tab is for, but that tab was hidden by this foam, and that's why I couldn't figure out what they were doing to get the thing done. Now, you don't have to take the foam off. You can, now that you know the tab is there, you just put the screwdriver up in that tab, and then you hit it with the hammer, and it goes into a locked position like that. It took us about 45 minutes to figure that out, of taking the thing out of the hole, putting it back in the hole. I went back on YouTube, I looked at the videos, and I saw a guy sticking a screwdriver up in there and hitting it with a hammer. And I couldn't figure out what he was sticking it into, so I came in and I pulled that foam back, and lo and behold, there was a hole there specifically to put a screwdriver in. So we learned a lot. Hopefully you learned a lot. Don't try to do it without putting a screwdriver in that hole. Now, we are at the point now where we've got one light in, and it is working. You can see it works. And we're going to get ready to put the second light in. Now, I've already marked the hole, and what we're going to do is cut the hole out. We're going to put the can up in there like this. One thing that I might add, this little piece here looks like this. Don't forget to put these in. You get them when you do a knockout, you knock out the tab there. That just snaps in, and that's there to hold your wire. It's not critical, but it's code, okay? Now, I won't tell anybody if you won't, but I didn't do it on this middle one because I forgot. But I ain't tearing it out to do it up to code, because if somebody finds out, I'll fix it then, okay? It's not something that moves, and so therefore it's not going to chafe the wire or damage it or cause a problem or whatever. As you know, most code is overdone anyhow. So anyway, now we're going to put this up in there, run the wires through, connect the wires here, repeat the process over here, put this one in over here, and once that's done, now there are several different light fixtures. The one that we chose is a Project Source. They came from Lowe's. They're LEDs, and they're spring mounted. There are two different types of mountings, and I want to show you this because I'm not going to be able to show it to you while I'm doing it. But in any event, this is what the light fixture looks like. This screws up into the bucket, into this part right here. It screws right in there like that. And then these little springs, they compress like this and get hooked behind two ears on either side. Here's your ears. Right here, I don't know if you can see them or not, but here's the ears where the spring is compressed and is stuck in there, and is compressed and stuck in there, and then you just slide the light fixture up in there. Okay? That's all it is to it. That is all it is to installing this particular kind. There are multiple kinds. One thing to remember on the back here, they've got a 6-inch hole and a 5-inch hole sitting. These come set to 6-inch, which is what we're using, so we don't have to move this bracket. If you're using a 5-inch hole or a 4-inch hole, you loosen this screw and you slide this little retainer in toward the center, okay? Now we're getting ready to go do a hole cut and make a big old mess. And we got our trusty cutter. So here we go. And okay, We got 2 lights installed, getting ready to end, thank God, ending this thing. But what we're going to do, I'm going to show you this last one here. We're going to pop out this little slug here to make a room for the... Alright, and then this little thing I was telling you about, the wire thing. But the best way I can figure, I mean, it may not be the right way, but I simply put it there and then I knock the crap out of it with a hammer. And that seems to work. And now what you want to do, these are clutch head screws. You see the little square head. So you want to loosen them up enough to where you can stick the wire in. And so your wire goes in like this. And goes on up in here like this. And then once you got the wire in, what you want to do is you want to tighten that down. And how we're going to do that is just take our little clutch head and you just turn that little screw till she tightens up. That's how you do that. And you can do this with a machine, you know, with a drill or whatever like that, but I like this little clutch head screwdriver. I picked it up at Home Depot and I think it's like $4 and it works fine. And I don't have to worry about a drill being charged or not charged or plugged in or whatever and all that. And this right here, no more than this is. This right here manual is fine. And once you got these screws tight, and then the wire is going to be solid and it's not going to be moving like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to strip off the insulation here. And that is on your black and your white. Let's cut all your excess off right here on this insulation here. Let's cut all this off. And let's cut this off and make it pretty. And then we're going to strip the wires. We got a white wire here. And let's get it down like that. We have a black wire. Let's strip it down like that. And then I'm going to try these little quick connect things here. You just stick wire in them like that. And on this one right here, we simply take the wire, stick it down in there, and you'll feel it kind of slide down in and lock. And then the same thing with the ground. I'm going to stick it in there and let it lock. Like that. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to tuck all this wire back in the little box that we have here. And make sure everything is still connected once it's tucked back in there. And it all looks very good. Now we're going to take our little cover and we put the cover back on. These little covers have been a pain today. I've lost them 3 or 4 times and then they don't want to go back on the way they came off. So these things can be kind of contrary. But there we go. We got the cover all done. It's all wired. Now we're going to go back up in here and we're going to work with them damn clips again. These clips, I'm telling you, are a pain. They are really a pain. It doesn't look as simple like when you're just trying to put them up there and you snap them. It's hard. I mean, don't get frustrated like I did. But you got to have a hammer and a screwdriver and you got to whack them until they lock. Okay, now we're going to cut a hole and do another one. So you can turn off the camera now and we'll start. We're done. Man, this is a bummer. The hardest thing in this entire job is those damn clips on that light, trying to get it to stay up in there. That is just, oh, that is a pain. Trying to feed those lights up in there with the little spring holders, that's kind of aggravating, but it's not difficult. The only downside of this entire job is those damn clips. I swear those things are such a pain. Maybe I just got a bad model, I don't know. But they really are a pain. So anyway, we're through. We got 3 lights. They all 3 work. Now the only thing to do is a little bit of caulking and whatever for the places where the old lights were. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say this was a 3 or 4. If it hadn't been for the clips, it'd been like a 3 or 4, but with the clips, it was more like an 8 or 9. The clips were very, very frustrating and aggravating. So if you get some, study those clips real hard, learn how to make those things lock, and they're a pain. They're an absolute pain. There's no soft way to make it nice. They're a pain. But the end result, very proud of the end result. The wife seems to like it. You like it, wife?
I like it.
Okay.
Better than those old swags from the
Because if
80s.
the wife likes it, everybody likes it. So I'm done. Thank you. Good night.